Welcome again to Joe's Son of Boxing. There's been a lot of talk about the sons of famous fighters. Campbell Hatton at the weekend lost his unbeaten record. You've got Conor Benn, still undefeated, but has had his trials and tribulations. Chris Eubank Jr., God knows what he's doing. But probably the best of the lot, or the one that seems to be turning out to be the best of the lot, is Tszyu, Kostya Tszyu's son. He's now 29 years old, so we can safely say he's in his prime. Australian, of course, mixed race, really, but he's Australian, effectively, born in Australia. He's about 5'9", orthodox fighter, WBO champ. He won the interim title against Tony Harrison, and then defended, I think, against Carlos Ocampo. The Harrison fight was a 9th round stoppage. The Ocampo fight, he got rid of him in only 1 round, which was, Ocampo's quite an accomplished, decent fighter. So that was a good result. But then he had a fight with Brian Mendoza. Remember that name, because we will talk about him later. And he won a unanimous decision, but it was hard fought. Mendoza made it competitive and fought actually very well. He's not a bad fighter, Brian Mendoza. Now, Tszyu was meant to take on, for some reason, I absolutely do not know why, because the guy's fought about once in the last 4 or 5 years, Keith Thurman, who has absolutely no record at super-welterweight. Spent his entire career as a welterweight. For some reason, he was given an opportunity to fight Tszyu, and it weren't happening. So he dropped out with a busted bicep, or he showed some photos of it. He looked horrendous, really sort of bruised and battered. So in steps Sebastian Fundora, the towering inferno, and my God, he is towering, because this is a super welterweight who is 6 foot 6 inches tall. Can you believe that? 6 foot 6 inches tall. Jesus Christ! I mean, he looks like a collection of elongated limbs, tied together in the middle. He's horrendously tall for the weight, an absolute freak of nature. And when you consider that Tszyu is 5'8.5", 5'9" maybe, this is some freaky stuff going on here. I mean, it really is. So in steps Fundora, but interestingly, he's coming off a knockout defeat, a 7th round knockout defeat. And who's it against? None other than Brian Mendoza, who was the guy who fought Tszyu the last time. Now, whereas Mendoza made it competitive and went the distance with Kostya Tszyu, Fundora, it bears mentioning, was winning that fight against Brian Mendoza, and he just got tagged. He kind of got a little bit sloppy or complacent, or a little of a lapse of concentration, and then he got knocked flat. And when you're 6 foot 6, it's a long way down, bang, and that is Mendoza's best win. At the time, it improved him to 22 wins and 2 defeats. He's now 22-3 because Tszyu beat him. But all 3 of those defeats are on points. He's a very, very durable, tough guy, very durable. Now, Sebastian Fundora, apart from the Mendoza fight, if you look through his resume, he also fought Carlos Ocampo. And whereas Tszyu did Ocampo in a round, I'm afraid that Fundora had to go the distance, 12 rounds. And he did win, a wide decision. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that he won. By the way, that was for the WBC interim title. So these belts are flying around all over the place. The fight against Tszyu is not only for Tszyu's WBO super welterweight title, it's for the WBC vacant super welterweight title. So you got 2 belts on the line. But prior to the Ocampo decision, Fundora actually, he was on the floor again against Erickson Lubin, and that was a terrific fight, a right old tear up. He beat the crap out of Lubin. Lubin's face was a lot of mush. I mean, it was smashed up, swollen and cut and everything. But fair play to Lubin, a young tough. He was pulled out by his corner after 9 rounds, and he was down in round 2, and then Fundora was down, I think, in round 7, and then, I mean, Lubin was just so beaten up, his corner had to pull him out. But that was a really exciting fight. But again, some vulnerabilities from the gigantic praying mantis that is Sebastian Fundora. Fundora, he is so tall. You would expect him to, use his range, use his height, keep everything long. Not a bit of it. He likes to fight small and get in up close and personal, and have a good old scrap. Now I don't know why this is. I can understand that at some point you've got to be able to fight. At some point you can't keep things long all the time, but he will give up his physical dimensions, his advantages, and he'll get in close and he'll say, okay, well, I'll come down to your level and we'll have a good old row. Clearly he came a cropper against Mendoza, because no way should Mendoza have got anywhere near this fella. But Fundora he likes to fight small. And I think, when you're sort of 6, 7, 8, 9 inches taller than the other guy, and God knows what your reach is, you would think that that a guy would at least try to use those advantages, even if he can fight small, even if he's good at it, which Fundora actually is. Now, at 26 years of age, Fundora is probably just on the cusp of coming into his prime. But Tszyu, I think, is in his prime. And you've got to wonder about the physical strength of a guy who weighs 154 pounds and is 6'6". Tszyu is, like I say, 5'9", so he's quite a compact, tough, physically strong super welter. I think he showed that against Tony Harrison. Harrison is notorious. He's got a notoriously shallow gas tank. He doesn't go. He kind of gets stopped in the late rounds of most of his defeats. Anyway, I think they were sort of around about 9 or 10 rounds. But Tszyu has got a pretty good gas tank. I mean, not only did he go 12 rounds with Mendoza, he went 12 rounds with Terrell the Gaucho, who's actually a very good gatekeeper type. I think he's got about 3 defeats on his record, but no one stops him. He's got about 24 wins as well, 12 by knockout or something. So he's a good test for anyone. And that was a 12-round decision when he fought Tszyu. Tszyu managed to squeeze out a 12-round decision. He also got a 12-round decision over Takeshi Inoue. So he's been 12 rounds a few times, has Tszyu, and he got a lot of stamina. Clearly does his cardio work. So both these guys, Fundora and Tszyu, they've done the championship distance on a few occasions. I don't think either of them has any kind of stamina issues. The obvious main thing for Fundora is that he is coming off that defeat, and he is coming off a bad knockout defeat. It's not like he was sort of lost a split decision or something. I mean, the only positive thing you can take from it is that, if it is positive, is that he was knocked out clean. He didn't take a sustained, horrendous beating. And like I say, he was winning that fight against Mendoza. So it's not all negative. Obviously getting knocked out is negative, but you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, he got chinned. He got chinned. It wasn't a case of poor technique or anything like that. It wasn't a case. I mean, you can argue that he should be fighting long and everything, like I said before, but it wasn't a case of him unraveling technically or mentally or anything. He just got chinned. He just got whacked out, and sometimes that happens. But what can he do against Tszyu? He's going over to Australia. He's coming off the back of a bad seventh round knockout. Yeah, I don't think, has he ever fought outside America? I don't think he has. I can't remember him ever traveling. So we don't know how well he travels. This is Fundora I'm talking about. If he'd had a couple of comeback wins over, B- level fighters, I think he'd stand a better chance. But to come off such a bad defeat, add that to the fact that he always fights small, gives up his physical advantages, add that to the fact that Tszyu's in his prime, whereas I think Fundora's probably just entering his prime. Add that to the fact that Tszyu is, I think, physically stronger and has very, very good skills as well. To be honest with you, I only see one winner, and that winner, of course, is Tim Tszyu. And I think Fundora will give him problems for a few rounds. I think Tszyu's going to have to work for this one. Fundora's a good fighter. By the way, Fundora's sister is the IBF flyweight champion. And flyweight, okay? How tall do you think she is? 5'9". So clearly the Fundoras fall asleep in a greenhouse and just grow, you know what I mean? But yeah, that was just a little aside. Sebastian Fundora, I don't know. I don't see him getting the better of Tszyu. He'll give him problems, but eventually he'll start to fight small again. He'll try to outmuscle the stronger man. After 4-5 rounds, he'll get into a tussle with him. I see Tszyu stopping Fundora in about 10 rounds. About 10 rounds, yeah. Grinding him down, just getting closer. The physicality will tell. Fundora will ship a bit of punishment. Might go on the floor, might have to get up. I think he'll either be stopped or he'll either be stopped by Tszyu or he'll be pulled out by his corner after about 10 rounds, I think. And don't forget, as I said before, Fundora came in as a substitute for Thurman. This is a much better fight than the Thurman fight. The Thurman fight was horrendous. What the hell? Digging up Keith Thurman, who's just about retired, putting him in a weight division where he's never done a damn thing, and taking into account all that incredible inactivity. What the hell were they thinking? How the hell did he get a shot against Tszyu? It's nonsensical. This is a better fight, even though Fundora is coming off that bad defeat. It's a better fight. Fundora will give Tszyu more problems than Thurman would have done, I think, because he is also a career 154-pounder, regardless of his height. So I do think that Tszyu will win this by a late stoppage. What do you think? Leave your comments below, of course. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the subscribe button and also that little like button. Give that a little poke and all. I'm looking forward to reading your comments. My prediction is Tszyu by a late knockout, but you let me know what you think. All right, I'll catch you later. Bye for now.